It started on a night that was supposed to be perfect. A night where fairy lights sparkled off crystal chandeliers and laughter echoed through a Manhattan penthouse that looked like something out of a magazine. Sophia Hart stood quietly at the edge of the crowd, a glass of champagne in hand, her sapphire dress hugging her curves, the same way it had the night her husband Ethan first told her she was the most beautiful woman he'd ever seen. But that man, the man she'd fallen for, was long gone. Ethan moved through the party like a king surveying his kingdom, all charm and power, shaking hands and making deals, barely glancing in her direction. Sophia had been waiting all night for a moment to pull him aside, to tell him the secret she'd been carrying close to her heart for weeks now. A miracle she thought would bring them closer. She was 8 weeks pregnant. But when Ethan's business partner joked loudly about when they'd finally have children, Ethan didn't beam with pride or excitement. Instead, he sneered. "Kids," he laughed, swirling his whiskey. "She can hardly manage being a wife. Honestly, I can't stand being in the same room with her anymore. She's become pathetic, like furniture that moves itself around hoping someone notices." The laughter that followed stabbed Sophia like shards of glass. Her champagne slipped from her hand, shattering on the marble floor, silencing the room for a moment. She saw a flicker of guilt cross Ethan's face, but it vanished just as quickly. "Careful there," he said, already turning away. "Someone clean that up." And that was it, the moment she knew something inside her marriage had died. She excused herself, walking out of that glittering party with tears threatening to spill past their wedding photos and piano past memories of simpler days. In their bedroom, she stared at her reflection, flawless makeup diamonds that could pay off a mortgage, the perfect billionaire's wife. She reached for the positive pregnancy test she'd been hiding in her drawer. 2 pink lines that meant everything. She whispered to her belly, "He doesn't know about you." But even if he did, would it matter? That night, Sophia wrote her last letter. She'd been writing him letters for years, ones she never sent, pouring out love and longing, hoping he'd come back to her somehow. But this letter was different. This one was goodbye. She packed her jewelry box with her wedding rings, the ultrasound photo from that morning's appointment, and every letter she'd ever written. She placed them in a carved wooden box and set it in the middle of their bed. By the time Ethan came home at 2 a.m., drunk and humming with victory from a new deal, she was gone, slipping into the elevator with nothing but a bag, her purse, and the baby he didn't want. When Ethan woke the next morning, he found the box. He opened it with a smirk, expecting some kind of anniversary gift. What he found instead, her rings, the letters, and that photo knocked the air out of him. Each letter was a knife to his chest, the birthday he forgot, the art exhibit he skipped, the countless nights she waited for him to come home. And then the last one, "I'm carrying your child. I'm leaving because love shouldn't feel like slow suicide. Don't look for us." Ethan collapsed to the marble floor. The man who thought he was untouchable reduced to tears. But if you think this is a story of a man who shrugs and moves on, you'd be wrong. He hired every investigator in the city. He tore through contacts and burned through money, desperate to find the woman he'd treated like an accessory. But Sophia had learned from him. She closed her accounts, moved in cash, disappeared so completely, even the best PI in Manhattan couldn't track her. And while Ethan spiraled, losing weight, skipping meetings, drowning in guilt, Sophia built a new life. 3,000 miles away in a sleepy coastal town in Oregon, she worked at a little bookstore cafe. The locals knew her only as Miss Wilson. She started a kids' reading circle, taught art classes at the community center, and made friends who loved her without knowing her past. 7 months pregnant now, she'd never felt freer. And yet every night she told her daughter stories about the man she left behind. But guilt wasn't eating away at Ethan alone. His mother, Helena, had been the architect of his coldness, teaching him love was weakness, that success mattered more than feelings. She was the one who told him his wife was a distraction. But when she read Sophia's letters, she saw the monster she'd created. And for the first time, Helena felt shame. So Helena hired her own investigator. Months later, she found Sophia. She drove to Oregon with trembling hands, ready to beg forgiveness. When she stepped into that cozy little shop and saw her daughter-in-law glowing with pregnancy, Helena's heart broke. "Sweetheart," she whispered, tears falling freely. "You look beautiful." Sophia froze, fear flashing in her eyes. "Is Ethan here?" "Please, Helena, I can't go through this again." But Helena didn't come with threats. She came with confession. "I was wrong," she said. "I poisoned my son against you. I let him destroy the best thing in his life. And he's paying for it. He's a shell of himself, Sophia. He gave up everything to find you." Sophia's hands trembled, tears welling. "He said he couldn't stand me, that I was pathetic. How could I ever trust him again?" Helena took her hand gently. "Because love doesn't die that easily. And because the man who said those words is gone. My son is fighting to become the man you fell in love with." Before Sophia could respond, a sharp pain ripped through her abdomen. Her water broke right there in the cafe. The roads were washed out from a storm, so Helena, once a midwife in her youth, helped deliver her granddaughter in a little apartment above the bookstore. Baby Isabel Rose was born under candlelight and chaos, a symbol of hope in the middle of a storm. Hours later, Ethan arrived soaked and shaking after a frantic journey across the country. He fell to his knees on the porch, sobbing when he heard his baby's cry. Sophia opened the door, exhausted, holding their daughter. "You're soaking wet," she whispered, stepping aside. "Come meet your daughter." Ethan cradled Isabel like she was made of glass. "She's perfect," he whispered, tears running down his face. "Sophia, I don't deserve forgiveness, but I'll spend every day proving I'm worthy of you. I gave up the company. All of it. None of it matters compared to this." Sophia studied him carefully, seeing not the ruthless tycoon she left, but a broken man desperate to rebuild. "I told myself I'd never let you near me again," she said softly. "But she deserves a father who knows what love is. Prove to me you've changed. Show me every day that we're worth more than money." And for a moment there was peace, until headlights flashed through the window and men approached the house. They weren't strangers. They were sent by Victoria Kane, a rival magnate whose family Ethan's father ruined decades ago. She'd orchestrated everything, deals, betrayals, even fueling Ethan's neglect just to destroy him. But when Victoria stepped inside and saw baby Isabel, something shifted. "She's beautiful," Victoria whispered, holding the child Sophia offered her. "I wanted revenge. I wanted you to feel what we felt. But this little girl is proof that something good came from all that pain. Keep your company. Build something better." And just like that, the empire Ethan thought he'd lost didn't matter anymore. He chose his family. Victoria left quietly, and the storm passed, leaving behind a calm that felt like a second chance. Now, in that tiny cottage by the sea, Ethan and Sophia rock their daughter to sleep. He whispers promises over her head, vows to never let ambition blind him again. She rests her head on his shoulder, torn between love and scars. Some wounds take time to heal, but Isabel's first smile that night gave them hope. So what do you think? Should Sophia forgive him? Would you take back someone who broke you, but gave up everything to make it right? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Stories like this spark conversations we all need to have about love, redemption, and what truly matters when everything else falls apart. And if this story touched you, hit that like, share it with a friend, and subscribe for more stories that dig deep into the messy, beautiful truths of life.